Welcome, everyone, to this episode of School on a Mission. I'm Gina Watts, here with the one, the only, Andrew McPeak.
Thank you. So good to be with you, Gina.
I'm so glad to do this with you, friend. If you believe school should be more than just essays and GPAs, if you believe EQs are just as important as IQs, and if you expect amazing things from the next generation, then you are in the right place, because we believe that too.
Absolutely. And Gina, today's episode is one that so many of us need. We're talking about emotions and what it means to normalize them, talk about them, and model a healthy emotional expression for both students and adults. It's all about building the kind of resilience that keeps burnout at bay and brings well-being to the center of school culture.
But before we do that,
we got something to do.
Today's question of the day.
Let's do it.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. What's one way you've learned to name or navigate your emotions that's made a meaningful difference in your life or your leadership?
Name and navigate my emotions. So, years ago, from my father, he taught me this acronym.
Okay.
And it's very revealing. So what I have found, and actually, I mean, we talked about this in episode 1. When I wrote my book, I talked about it as the mirror. The mirror teaches us about self-awareness. And so self-awareness is about recognizing what's going on. And so when I am experiencing emotion, whether it's, and typically it's an emotion that's kind of really high or really low, right? So sadness, anxiety, anger, super joy, whatever it is, that often when I'm experiencing negative emotions, he taught me the HALT method. Many people might have heard of this,
okay.
HALT. And what we found is that typically, not all the time, but typically, the source of that emotion is coming from one of 4 things. HALT stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And so it's just a great reminder for me when I'm experiencing one of those emotions to go, what's going on here? My wife and I have learned after 14 years of marriage that 90% of our arguments happen because we haven't eaten a meal recently, just as an example of those things. So that's probably a rudimentary example. But honestly, when I think about managing emotions, a lot of it is recognizing something external is going on, and I just have not taken the time to acknowledge it yet.
That's great.
What about you?
I love it. You know, I was like kind of stumped myself with my own question here. I think one of the maybe bigger ways that I connect with my emotions to name them or navigate them is honestly accountability partners or people like that I trust, sharing with them kind of where I'm at and what I'm going through so that they can help me navigate it, because they know me, they know my values, and they can kind of help point me back to what's true. That doesn't mean I'm constantly venting or going to people and just saying all the things, but it helps me to get aware of my emotions. So it might look something like, hey, Andrew, this happened today. Welcome to the carousel of chaos, right? So I'm sharing with you what happened, and then I'm asking you like, hey, can you just like sit in this like with me for a minute?
So good.
Because you know me enough to be able to tell me, right?
Yep.
And obviously, with my husband Eric, I go to him and share with him. I've shared this before. You know, I'm a person of faith, Christian faith, and so I have a spiritual director, and so I really try to connect with my spiritual director about my emotions. That helps me kind of have that
Speaking
space.
of people who know you and you can trust, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's so good. So good.
Well, our guest today, she brings incredible wisdom in this area of emotional awareness. We're learning from Chelsea Elliott. Chelsea is a passionate advocate for emotional wellness and social emotional learning for children and families. She's the founder of Sōmōcom Lab and the creator of EQ Kids Crew, a fun research-based card game that helps kids and grown-ups have meaningful conversations about emotions, relationships, and healthy expression. Chelsea brings both personal experience and professional expertise to this work, and her mission is to help families and educators build emotionally intelligent, resilient communities, one conversation at a time. Let's meet Chelsea.
Oh, okay. So hi, Gina. My name is Chelsea Elliott. I am the founder and CEO of Sōmōcom Lab. It's the Social Emotional Communication Lab. And I'm a mom of two, a wife of 11 years, um, and I'm allergic to coffee and alcohol. And so knowing those things about me, I have a lot of stressors and not as many stress relievers. And so I live the work of emotional intelligence on a regular basis. I am very in tune, very self aware. Um, I have some pretty decent strategies, but I also was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and ADHD, and have struggled with suicidal ideation. And I love to bring that up. Those are my labels. I bring those up initially so that people know when they hear from me, or if I'm doing a training or a workshop, or if I'm speaking on a podcast, they know like, oh, this isn't just somebody who has learned this stuff in school. I have a master's in macro social work from Boston College, which is awesome, but I also live this work on a daily basis, and I have to put all of these things in practice regularly. Um, I do the work that I do because when I was a kid, we had this very big, dramatic move from Los Angeles, California, living the high life, to Dayton, Ohio. And it was very challenging. I was 9. I have 3 sisters. I'm number 2. And we all handled everything so differently. And that was really interesting to me. But I struggled really bad. And nobody knew what to do with me. You know, my mom is incredible. Um, and she was in survival mode for a long time because she had to be. And with me just having 2, I'm like, I don't know how she had 4 and was doing it by herself for the most part. So that was a lot. But I respect and understand it now. But as a kid, I was just like, everything's being taken away. We're losing everything. I have zero control. And so I tried to take control in the ways that I could. And that was eating disorders and self harm, um, growing up too fast because I felt like that was what I could contribute. So I would set my alarm to wake my sisters up for school and make sure that everybody was ready. If our report cards needed to be signed, let's make sure we get that done. I scheduled my own appointments, like I scheduled the dog's vet appointments, got a job early so I could work and make my own money and pay for my own stuff. And at first, everybody's like, oh, she's so mature. She's so this and that. And it's like, yeah, but now that I know it was a trauma response. And so knowing that, um, when the pandemic happened and I was pregnant with my youngest, my oldest was 3, I was like, oh, every single child in the world is going through at least one adverse childhood experience, also known as an ACE. Every kid in the world. And there are a lot of adults who don't know what to do with their children and their feelings. We're all going through our own stuff because we have no clue what's going on, but our kids are taking the brunt of that along with their own things. And so I wanted to make emotions easier for people to talk about and to understand. And it started in my own home with my own child and evaluating what she needed, when she needed it. You know, if she started to get really rowdy, okay, we need a change of scenery, we need a change of pace. What could we do? So we turned one of our lower levels into basically a preschool at the time, bought a trampoline and just got all kinds of stuff for her to let her energy out. And then I started teaching her more about her emotion words, and watching her emotional vocabulary expand helped me to understand how to support her better. And so that was something that I didn't get when I was a kid, but I was so excited to give that to her. And I was like, people need this. And so I started my company, super long story short, but I started my company basically with the card game. I had already had a program, you know, helping people in customer service to not take on other people's stuff when they're coming in irate or they're yelling and screaming at you. Like that has nothing to do with you. So don't take it, you know, not don't take it personal, but this is how it feels and this is what you can do for yourself, and how you can resolve the situation without putting blame on yourself. And so I already had all these bits and pieces all over the place. And then they all finally came together. And this is my life's purpose. This is the reason I'm still here on this earth. Because if it was up to me, I would have been gone a long time ago. So that's why I do the work that I do.
I just want to pause for a moment and say, wow.
Yeah.
Like you can hear in Chelsea, in her voice, in her story, that she is truly the real deal. This isn't just theory for her. It's her lived experience.
Absolutely. It really is. And she's not out there like teaching emotional intelligence from behind a desk or writing research papers. Not that those things aren't important, but we can trust her because she's in the thick of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
School drop-offs, real conversations, all those messy moments in between.
And that moment where she talked about emotional vocabulary with her daughter, I was like, okay, well, maybe I need a trampoline and a preschool in my basement. And I don't mean for my child. I mean for myself, because that was just such a great idea to give her that space and to just the whole idea of emotional vocabulary, first of all.
Yeah.
That was a game changer for me.
Seriously. I mean, don't we all need better words for what we're feeling? Half the time we just say, meh, or something like that. We hope people figure it out. But Chelsea's story is a powerful reminder that when we give kids language for their emotions, as well as the validation to go with it, it transforms the way they relate to themselves and the world.
And that brings us to the next part of our conversation. We asked Chelsea why normalizing emotions, especially for kids and the adults who love them, is so important. Her answer, well, you're about to hear it. Let's keep listening.
Yeah, the more you know about something, the more control you have over it. And so, I do these trainings and talk about this stuff all the time. I had a conversation this morning taking my kids to summer camp. I'm talking about this stuff all the time, and I'm very open with my story because the more you hear other people and the more you know, oh, someone else went through that, the less painful it is for you. And so if you grew up in a space or an environment where you weren't allowed to feel, the way that you were treated or responded to was get out of my face, come back when you're ready, or cut out all that crying, or quit crying before I give you a reason to cry, or fix your face. Why are you so mad? So you're being taught right in those moments. It's not the big moments that people think. It's those little moments where you're being taught, stop trusting yourself because you're not feeling what you think you're feeling. You're being shut down. You're being told your emotions are not welcome here. And then parents are like, oh my gosh, my kids don't talk to me. I don't know why they don't share anything with me. Well, how do you respond when they share those little moments? When my child, who is 4, breaks a cracker the wrong way and is distraught over that, I am irritated out of this world. Like, girl, it is not that serious. What is wrong with you? Cut that out. I would never say that out loud to her, but my brain is going like, OMG, not again. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with her? What comes out of my mouth is, I see that really bothered you. Would you like another one? Or, hey, it's still the same thing. It's just a different shape now. What shape is that? Oh, let's talk about it. But I'm validating and then helping her move forward. It's that validation, especially when we don't agree, that can make all the difference in the way that you grow up knowing how to communicate. So we spend 18 years silencing kids and then say, okay, go off out into the world and be a great communicator, speak up for yourself, be an advocate, know how to have conflict, when they were never allowed to do that because we have a complex as adults saying, I'm the grown one, I know everything, I will never admit that I'm wrong. Or if I do, it's here's some extra food or here's an extra treat. My bad, but never I'm sorry. Well, you shouldn't have got me so upset, instead of I'm sorry, I messed that up. So I had a conversation with my kids this morning about me being imperfect mommy. And that's okay. I have imperfect mommy moments all the time. And we talk about that because I never want them to think she's perfect and I'm not. Something's wrong with me, because that's how I always felt. So creating that safe space, that safe and healthy emotional space, is everything to me. That's my company's mission. That's my vision. That is my life's goal and life's purpose. And it's something I unintentionally did for many, many years, decades. People would just come to me and share their deepest thoughts, or they would just start crying. Or I've had people say, I've talked about this a million times, I don't know why I'm crying telling it to you. I know that I have that natural ability, that natural gift, and I do not take that lightly at all. It's such an honor, and to be able to help people do that themselves. So helping them do that is me modeling it first. So if I can be vulnerable and still be okay, you can too. If I'm validating you in this moment, even though I don't agree with you, or you just got done yelling at me or disrespecting me, you can do the same thing. And so that's one of the biggest ways that I like to teach people that you can be a safe and healthy emotional space, but you got to look inward. One, figure out what your triggers are and why. And usually it's something that you were not taught to handle. So you don't know how to handle it. And people are like, well, I am who I am. This is just it. Well, you can resolve that, or you can just live life unhappy and unhealthy.
You know, Chelsea said something that really stuck with me. You can't grow what you won't name. And isn't that so true, Andrew?
Yeah, dude, so true.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love is that she's not just calling us to be more aware of young people's emotions. She's modeling how we make space for all of it. Frustration, confusion, joy, sadness, even the occasional broken cracker meltdown, as she says.
And if we want emotionally resilient kids, they need emotionally available adults.
Yes.
I feel like I should repeat that.
I think you should.
If we want emotionally resilient kids, then they need emotionally available adults. Snaps, all the snaps. That starts with us doing the work. And that's exactly where Chelsea takes us next. She shares 3 simple but powerful questions that she asks herself every day to help guide her emotional responses, particularly with children. Whether you're parenting, teaching, or leading a team, these questions are practical, doable, and full of wisdom.
A few things that I can recommend to anyone. Think before you speak. So I ask myself 3 questions, and this took practice. This was not something I just said, I'm going to do this. It took practice. I'm going to give a little backstory on it. When my daughter was 2, I popped her hand one time because she did something I didn't like. And the look she gave me, she looked like a cartoon. She looked like Puss in Boots, the eyes, but they were watered. They were glazed over and glistening in the light. And I felt like a monster for popping her. And I promised myself in that moment, if I can hit my child when I'm not mad, then I'll hit her. If I still feel like she deserves to be hit and I'm out of my angry feelings, I'll go ahead and hit her. And she's about to be 9 this year. I have not hit her one time. Not one time. So I started asking myself 3 questions before engaging with her. There would be moments of silence, like, you need to give me a minute. Mommy's got to think. And I would process these questions, but now they're automatic. So it does become a routine. These 3 questions. How is this situation or my reaction going to help her? Or how is it going to make her feel? How is this reaction going to make me feel? And what is this going to do for the situation? So is this going to make her feel like a horrible person? Is it going to make her feel bad? Is this going to empower, encourage, or teach her? For myself, is this going to make me feel like garbage later? Am I going to feel good about how I responded to this situation? And for the situation, is this going to make it worse? Is she going to cry longer? Is she going to act out even more? So it's going to prolong the issue, or can we end it here? And asking myself those 3 questions has been our saving grace, really. And they just naturally come into my mind now. And I think it happens in a split second, but it used to take like 5 or 10 minutes. Like, okay, how am I going to respond to this? And I say that because people are like, oh, I can't do that. Yes, you can. It's not an automatic thing at first, but just like anything else, you can improve your EQ. Maybe not your IQ according to science, but you can improve your EQ. And it's with being thoughtful. It's with having conversations and discussions. The other day, I I told her we were doing something, and she looked at me funny and was like, okay, like why? And so I gave her the explanation, and she was like, yeah, you usually just explain this stuff to us. I don't know why you didn't do that. I was like, oh, you know what? You're right. I give an explanation for everything, and I'm cool with that because I get way less questions. And if I don't give an explanation for something in a moment, they know mommy has a really good reason because she always gives us a good reason. So this works with kids in school too. I have a program that I run in schools. I have it's called the Social Emotional Learning Intervention Specialist Partnership Program. Very long name, but it's SELLIS Partnership Program. Everything I do is a long name, so I just smash it together. But the SELLIS Partnership Program, and we come into schools and help teachers because, having 15 plus kids in a classroom is a lot, but we help them by providing SEL support to the kids, the teachers, and the administration. And so making it a part of the school culture. And it takes time, but asking these questions or giving a simple, quick explanation at the beginning of a lesson, acknowledging that something is going to be challenging. Don't beat yourself up. We are literally here to learn. You got this. If you don't have it, that's okay too. But acknowledging and calling those things out helps to normalize the fact that, okay, they said this was going to be hard. This is hard. This is actually hard. And it makes it feel less like it's just on the child. Something's wrong with me because I didn't get it. I think everybody else has it. And we do this as adults. And it's funny because I do a lot of workshops with kids, but I also have to do a lot of workshop and training with adults. And I'm doing the same stuff. We're having the same conversations. It's the same processes because everybody's starting out with that foundational level of understanding.
Okay, we always tell you guys to have a notebook or a paper or pen or something.
People don't listen to
I
us,
know.
Gina.
So I'm just going to say what Chelsea said so that you can capture it. These are the 3 questions. How will this make the other person feel? How will this make me feel? And what will this do to the situation?
So good. It's like an emotional intelligence checklist for real life, right? Every interaction. Chelsea's showing us how emotional resilience isn't about never getting upset. It's about pausing just long enough to choose how you respond.
And she said, that she's done this for years. So this isn't something that maybe you're just going to pick up and practically do quickly, easily. It's something that she dedicated time to just creating a habit. But, the pause that it creates, it's a thoughtful, intentional pause, and it can change everything, especially for those of us that are leading classrooms, teams, or even our own families.
Yeah. Well, if our listeners are like me, a question they could be asking right now is, how do I actually build that kind of emotional awareness for the moment that I'm in,
Well, good news is that in this next section, Chelsea gives us some of her go-to practices. We're talking small, sustainable habits that make a big impact. From body scans to redefining self-care, she's about to reframe how we manage burnout and build emotional resilience.
We talk a lot about self-care, but self-care is maintenance. And so people do it as oh crap, I'm burnt out. Let me go practice self-care. But that's supposed to be the thing you do consistently and routinely. It doesn't have to be every day, but it's the routine practice of taking care of yourself. Having positive emotional regulation strategies is what is more needed for those in the moment situations to help reduce, I can't say prevent the burnout because it's real, but to help reduce the intensity, frequency, and duration of burnout. And so at this point, because of where we are with everything going on, I hesitate to say we can eliminate burnout. I don't know a single person that is like, I am officially free. I don't know anybody. Not yet. One day, maybe. But we can reduce the burnout by listening to our bodies. That it's a harder thing to do than it sounds, but doing a body scan, there are some YouTube videos that help you do a body scan, but it's literally going from head to toe or toe to head, not judging what you're feeling, but assessing. So if I start at my feet, feel your toes, focus just on your toes, move the scanner up through your feet, through your ankles, through your calves, What sensations are you feeling in your calves? Don't judge it. Don't fix it. Just feel it. What are you feeling in your knees? And as you're going through that, I'm literally feeling these parts of my body as I'm saying it. So you go all the way up to your head. And then what I like to do is go from my head down and start to relax parts of my body. And I feel like I'm sitting with my shoulders next to my ears because my shoulders drop every time I do it. And I'm like, how far did they just fall? Like, did I just fall? Because why were they so high up? Why am I so tense? What just happened to me? So being able to assess where your body is will help you read yourself better, because our feelings are the physical manifestation of our emotions. So you're feeling something in your body based on what you're emoting in your body. And so you will feel it before the emotion comes up. I get very anxious. My anxiety can be on 10 sometimes. Praise the Lord for this medication, because it gets bad. I feel it in my gut. So when my stomach is hurting, okay, what have I been thinking about? What has my brain been ruminating over that I'm not even aware of because I'm so busy? I'm so in my thing. What has my mind been doing that is making my body feel this way? I can tell now. Or if I'm super tired, I don't just drink extra mushroom coffee, because that's the only coffee I can drink now. $10 at the store. But I don't just drink extra mushroom coffee. I have to take a nap, or I'm going to get a migraine, then have to take medication. That's going to make my stomach hurt again. And you have to listen to your body. Not everybody has the luxury of just taking a nap, but you have to do certain things to take care of yourself. You will become more irritable if you're not paying attention to what's going on. And so then you're like, dang, what's going on with me? Why do I feel this way? Have you been listening to yourself? It didn't come out of nowhere. This could have been days building up, but you just ignored it. You pushed it down. You medicated it. You haven't been listening. So listening to your body is one very important, simple, but not easy thing that can be done. Acknowledging that you have feelings. So we experience around 400 emotions in a day, an average of 400. We have close to 34,000 emotions. And the wheel that I use just has 130. And even that was too much for people. They're like, wait, what? We have how many? And so we have the 7 core: happy, sad, disgusted, fearful, angry, and oh gosh, I always do this. Oh, feeling bad, like stressed or tired. So we have those 7 core, but being able to expand out to go deeper, and expanding that emotional vocabulary will help you know what you're feeling with those emotions. I had a therapist that would ask me, I'm in a depression, and she's like, okay, how does your body feel? And so I could very quickly rattle off. I feel my stomach hurting, my hands are sweating, I feel very fatigued, my head hurts, I feel drained, I'm tired. You can go through all of those. And then when I would be feeling perfectly fine and happy, she's like, okay, well, how does your body feel? How do you feel when you're happy? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. What do you mean? What are you even asking me? So I started to evaluate, well, what do you feel? And she was like, knowing those things helps you get back to that feeling. And it helps you know when you're in that space and that you're good. So how do you know when you're getting back to good? So having that awareness, it sounds like a lot. This has been years, decades in the making of getting to this point. But being able to simplify it in these terms would have made it a lot less strenuous and a lot less exhausting. It is exhausting to go through these processes and to be talking to yourself or journaling and figuring this stuff out about yourself regularly. But it's so worth it, because you just start to notice, oh, I didn't overreact like I normally would have. Oh, I didn't cry over that situation this time. Oh, that didn't make me as angry as it normally does. And you start to notice the positives and how you're coming out of it. Once you have some of these things down, self-care becoming a regular practice, opening a window and breathing in fresh air for 30 seconds is a part of self-care. You can do that regularly. If you have an animal and you take them outside, put your feet in the grass for a few seconds, a few minutes. That's self-care. You can take a walk around your house, go up and down the stairs a couple times. That's saying, hey, body, I love you and I want my heart to work better and to, pump the way it needs to. That's a part of self-care. Doing these little things on a regular basis will help you be able to manage. And I said control earlier. You can't control your emotions. You can only manage them. They're going to happen. It's information. They're not good or bad. They just are. Some feel comfortable and some don't, but they just are. They're information. And so being able to read that information requires self-regulation.
Okay, Andrew, be honest. Were you doing a body scan while Chelsea was describing it?
I for sure was. And I realized my shoulders are permanently camped next to my ears. So that's now I know that.
I mean, maybe not all the way camped to your ears, because you're a pretty chill dude.
I am pretty chill.
You usually calm me down. But it is crazy how often we power through our days without ever checking in with our own bodies.
Yeah.
I'm sure my shoulders stay kind of up at my ears. But that reminder to listen and not to just push through, that is such a needed shift, I think, for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the way Chelsea, too, reframed self-care as self-maintenance, right? Because a lot of us hear, especially older leaders, hear self-care and think, oh, that's just soft stuff, you know? But if we reframe it as self-maintenance, that helps us, right? It's not just bubble baths when you hit burnout, but it's little rhythms that help you stay steady. That word maintenance is a helpful mindset, because when we make those habits sustainable, we're not just caring for ourselves, we're actually modeling emotional regulation for the kids and the teens around us too.
Now, I will say this though. Maybe it's because I'm a Zennial. I don't mind a good bubble bath, and just check out.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's just, but to Chelsea's point and to what you underline is that self-care is the minimum.
Yeah.
We need to prioritize it and make it a part of our lives, and not just kind of I guess, a reward system, you know? In this next section, Chelsea challenges us. She challenges the way we think about kids and their emotions. It's about seeing young people as full humans, right? They're just smaller than us, but they're still a whole human, worthy of respect and our empathy, not just behavior that we're supposed to be managing. We pick up the conversation with Chelsea, challenging traditional reward systems and sharing why it's important to meet youth where they are.
Yes. You just said something that is one of the hills I will die on. I hate behavior charts and reward systems. Hate them with my whole entire soul, because you are not teaching someone to intrinsically, internally say, this is the right thing to do, so this is what I'm going to do. You are teaching them to always seek that external validation. And we're doing that, again, those little moments, those, oh, you get a gold star or a sticker for doing this thing. Oh, I can get a gold star or a sticker for I'm going to do that all the time. And as soon as they don't get it, they're going to be looking for it. Well, where's my gold star and my sticker? What am I? I've heard people say, oh, I've asked the kids to do this thing. And the kids are like, well, what am I going to get if I do it? You get the satisfaction of knowing you're doing something good and you're being helpful and you're just being a good person. But we haven't raised them to do that. So I can't be mad at the kids for it, because we want to give them gold stars and stickers. Because we are training them. Everything you're doing for a child in childhood is training them for their adulthood. And I always have to clarify and say, we're not blaming. I'm not ever placing. I don't want you to go home and say, Mom, Dad, you're a horrible parent because you did this and this and this. You have to acknowledge where the things came from in order to resolve them. So to say, yeah, my parents may have messed this up. My school didn't really teach me this the way that they could have. It's not saying I blame you. You were horrible for it. People were doing what they knew how to do. But we have the chance to break that cycle and to reverse this and say, we want to teach the kids because they're humans. We're teaching them as humans. So defining what a child is, defining what is a child? What does child mean to you? What does that word mean to you? Are they a person, or are they a little thing that we are trying to mold and shape? Because if you see them as a person, you are going to treat them as a human being on this earth who is learning a new skill. If you see them as a little thing that they need to be molded and shaped, you're going to try to change who they are. You're going to not look at them as who they are. You're going to shift them into who you want them to be or who you need them to be in that moment. And that's what the reward systems do. I need you to hurry up and be. Instead of, I see who you are, let me adapt to that, or let me help you to shape this into what you can be. I got some sassy little Virgos. One of them was born on Misty Copeland's birthday, the other on Beyonce's birthday. I got some sassy Virgos. I don't want to, as much as their little mouths get to me sometimes, I don't want to break that from them because I need them to keep that. I need you to question authority when authority is telling you to do something that you're not supposed to be doing. I need you to ask for clarification so you don't find yourself in the middle of nowhere trying to figure out how the heck did I get here? I need you to trust your gut so you don't have that, oh, dang, I knew I shouldn't have done that moment all your life. We need them to keep those skills, but we spend so much time breaking kids and then wondering why adults are broken. And we're spending so much money and so much time trying to get back to who we already were because we were inconvenient to adults because they didn't know how to handle it because they were never handled fairly the way they should have been. And Frederick Douglass has a quote, "It's easier to build strong children than repair broken men." It's so much easier to say, I'm going to set myself aside and let this child be who they are.
This conversation has been so good to us, and I hope to you, our listeners. I feel like I'm walking away with more than just insight. I'm walking away with tools that I can even actually use.
Yeah, it's very clear she's done this for a while, right? Because she makes it so practical. I feel exactly the same way. She didn't just talk about emotional intelligence. She lives it every single day. And the way she invited us to think about our emotional awareness as a skill that we build, not just something you have or don't have, right? That's huge for so many people listening, probably.
Mm-hmm. And it starts with those simple, powerful check-ins, like those 3 questions she asked before responding to a young person. How will this make them feel? How will it make me feel? And what's it going to do for the situation? I'm putting that one in my back pocket today.
That might go in a slide deck. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And we talked about the body scan, but I think that's brilliant as well, right? I'm keenly aware of that tension I found in my shoulders, as are many who are probably listening to this, right? But that idea of listening to your body as a way of listening to your emotions, brilliant. It's something that every educator needs to hear. And it's also so practical. You can literally do it in the 2 minutes you have between classes. Just do a quick body scan and think about, where am I carrying things?
Because it's so easy for us to pour out without checking in, especially for our friends in education. I think that you carry things with you all day long, maybe from class to class, or from, if you're a building leader, maybe from, fire to fire, right? It's like you're carrying those things with you, and the person that you encounter next has nothing to do with those things that you were carrying. But if maybe you would take just a moment to check in, it would allow you to pour into yourself before you pour out. Chelsea reminded us that self-care isn't a luxury. It is maintenance. It's noticing when you're getting off balance and taking small steps to reorient yourself.
So good. So good. So folks, whether it's stepping out for a minute of fresh air, keeping a gratitude journal a few times a week, or just naming what you're feeling, like, these things matter, right? These are the things, the regular practices that actually build that emotional resilience we've been talking about.
And when we model that, for our students and for each other, we give permission to feel, to name, to grow. It's creating those safe spaces. I think sometimes, Andrew, we are in search of safe spaces, but we don't realize that we also can help create safe spaces, right? So, like, being vulnerable, giving ourselves permission to feel and to name it and to grow, it actually gives other people that same permission. And that's just a gift.
Absolutely. This was good.
It was.
I don't know how listeners think this podcast gets made, but it's like, there's oftentimes we begin a journey and then we get to the end of it and go, that was better than we thought it was going to be. I don't know. I just feel
snaps.
like, Chelsea did it. She brought it. And I feel like I've learned a lot.
Good. And your shoulders are relaxed.
Yeah. It's been a lot of attention on my shoulders in this episode for some reason. I am relaxed. I'm actually feeling great. But I am feeling like we learned a lot. Like, we've had a lot of information. So I think it is time for us to do one of our favorite traditions here on the podcast. It's time for DMI. DMI, of course, stands for Don't Miss It. Gina and I will each highlight something from today's episode that we don't think you should miss. So, Gina, I'm curious to hear what your DMI is.
There were so many, as per usual, because we have the most amazing guests all the time. But I think it's a simple one that I want to highlight compared to maybe all the gold nuggets throughout this episode. When Chelsea literally said these two words, emotional vocabulary, I felt so aware of how much maybe I didn't have that at different seasons of my life, or that maybe I didn't even give that to my own children, or to maybe even the staff that I lead. And I just wonder how many people out there have a clear emotional vocabulary. Even you sharing about HALT, like the HALT, like that gives emotional vocabulary, right? I know some of us were raised in families where it's like, maybe if you were acting out, you were disciplined. So then you'd learn to internalize and not share. And a lot of times your parents are doing your best. It's not necessarily that you were abused. It's just tradition or how you were raised, right? But what it might have done is taught you a behavior that you don't know that you're still holding on to, and maybe even passing it on to others. And so having emotional vocabulary, like, bruh.
I once heard a really brilliant educator talk about when you're having a conversation with a student, the difference in them expressing. So they might be embodying this exactly the same way, but when you ask them, what are you feeling right now? The difference between them saying I'm angry and I'm frustrated. You know what I mean? And that to me is like the perfect little microcosm picture of exactly what we're talking about, right? Because if the actions that they're expressing are coming from a place of anger, well, that's one conversation, right? But if they're coming from a place of frustration, that's an entirely different conversation. So when we have those words, it's just brilliant. Yeah. So that's
how about
good.
you? What was your DMI?
Oh, well, again, she said so many good things. I think I will be haunted. I don't know if that's the right word. I'll be thinking about the phrase that she said in there about our perspective on emotional resilience. She said, oftentimes in schools, we silence kids for 18 years, all throughout their educational journey. And then we expect them to emerge into adulthood, being able to communicate effectively, advocate for themselves, have all this resilience, right? And often I go to so many schools and even HR conferences where they talk about one of the biggest issues of hiring recent graduates is their lack of resilience, right? When things get tough, they tend to flounder or fall apart or whatever it is. And it's like, well, maybe they've been in an environment where we didn't let them practice resilience for all that time. So I would say for those who are listening, when we're leading students through challenging moments, obviously follow all the things Chelsea recommended. But I also wonder if it wouldn't be healthy for us to imagine the kind of adult we want this kid to be one day.
So good.
As we're engaging with them. And go, I want this person to be able to advocate for themselves. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to advocate for themselves. I'm going to give them tools to practice better communication, whatever it is, you know. But that strikes me as a really, really important perspective shift of like, you know, one of our founders, Tim, always says to parents, you're not raising kids, you're raising future adults. And I think as educators, we have to do the same things. We're not just leading a bunch of kids in a classroom. We're also preparing a group of future adults to be ready for that moment. And that doesn't just include reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's the whole reason we have this podcast. That also includes being able to be resilient and advocate for themselves.
As you were talking and underlining Chelsea's point, because that was definitely one of those golden nuggets. I was thinking about how as educators, we can shift pedagogy when it's like a particular subject. But sometimes when we think about emotions or we think about mental health, we don't necessarily shift our pedagogy quickly. Right? Because it's probably framed in what we've experienced in our life.
Without us even knowing it.
We don't do it on purpose. It's just that this is how I was raised or this is how I did it and I'm fine. So what's wrong with them?
And you may not be fine.
Yeah.
Just
Hey.
I don't want to,
Yeah. We could go on.
Yeah.
We could go on. We're supposed to be wrapping up. We can't help it.
Calling your listeners out podcast. Welcome.
Well, maybe it's calling ourselves out.
Yeah, we
and
do that too.
Then we also, you might have a mirror moment because of it.
This was good, Gina.
This was really good. Shout out to Chelsea. Thank you so much for joining us today. Friends, this is a wrap up of this episode of School on a Mission podcast. But before you hit skip onto your next podcast, we've got a little challenge for you. We want you to grab a pen, a notebook, a sticky note, or even the back of your hand and write down at least one action that you're going to take this week. Maybe it's something you're going to do, something you're going to investigate, something to read more about, or maybe a person you want to meet with. Do you got it? Perfect. Now DM us with your action step. We can't wait to see what awesome things that you're up to. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep leading your school on a mission. Thanks for listening in to this episode of School on a Mission, a podcast for educators by educators, produced by Growing Leaders and powered by the Maxwell Leadership Foundation. To learn more about Growing Leaders, visit growingleaders.com. And for more information about the School on a Mission podcast, head to schoolonamissionpodcast.com.